Hello guys, in this video let's look at how to build a splash screen for our application. Okay, so this splash screen is actually something that appears for the first maybe 2 to 3 seconds, showing some kind of images or the brand name or something like that, and after that it will not be shown again when we are using that particular thing. So for example, let's say if we open our WhatsApp right now, it says something like powered by Facebook or something like that. No, so that's kind of a splash screen. Okay, that is in the case of WhatsApp, it's a WhatsApp logo, and towards the bottom it says by Facebook and something like that. Okay, so we can customize that as per our need, and we can add the delay, like for how many duration it should be shown and things like that. So let's look at how to build one of that thing. Okay, so let's start with our Flutter project as usual. Okay, so I'm going with Flutter application, then I'm going to rename it as uh, splash screen. Okay, then selecting my SDK path. After that I want it to be inside projects, so I'm going to click on next and finally finish. Okay, so let's wait till this Flutter project is created. So as usual, let's remove this code. Okay, so after removing that code, we can write our stuff from the scratch itself. So in this application we'll be using two pages, that is two screens. So one will be our splash screen and the second one will be the landing page. So we'll be creating a landing page too, so let's also look into how that's done. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to change this my app to, so let's provide a material app inside this. Okay, so material app, and inside that let's provide a home. Okay, so wait a minute, home, and here what we are going to do is we are going to create something called as my app outside this thing. Okay, so I'm going to give it as wait a minute, my app, and let's open and close that parenthesis, and coming outside of this I'm going to create a stateful widget called as my app. Okay, so now this array is sold. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is let's try to do something like we need to show an image, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this container for the time being. I'm going to place something called sender, and inside that the child will be okay. So we know how to add images to the assets folder and then import them to use them, right? So there's actually one image that is a logo of Flutter already present inside this packages, so we can directly call it under the child. So what I'm going to do is I'm calling that, so it's called the Flutter logo, so I'm going to call that Flutter logo, and inside that I'm going to specify its size as maybe 400, and yes, that may be okay. So now let's try running this application and check what we have got right now. Okay, so let's run that. So as you can see over here, the Flutter logo loaded up. So yes, let's actually proceed with how to make this screen a splash screen. Okay, so before that what I'm going to do is we need to create a landing page, right? So I'm going to right click on this splash screen over here, and then I'm going to create a new dot file called as maybe home.dot. Okay, so let's create that another dot file and name it as something called home.dot. Okay, so click on right click on that, then go to new, then create a dot file called as home. Or wait a minute, let's, to make it sure that it's appearing correctly, just a double tap on this one and then inside that right click, like double click on library, then um, you can find there's something like this, right? This main dot is found inside this library. So just right click on library, then go to new, then create a new dot file called as home.dot. Okay, so after creating that home.dot, it will be appearing over here in this list, as well as we can change it too. So first things first, so I'm going to import the material dot file, which is necessary for the Flutter application to run. So packages, and from there material dot. So I'll just import that. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to what do I say, what do we need over there? Yeah, we will go with a void main, just these stuffs. Okay, void main, and inside that we'll be creating these stuffs and all those things. So void main, and then inside that I'm going with run app, and inside that I'm going to go with maybe my app itself. Then my app, now it looks okay. So outside this okay, let's go with something called as home. Okay, so instead of using my app again and again, let's go with home. And then outside this thing, I'm going to create a stateful widget again, stateful widget called as home. So now the array is over. So we are going to return a material application. Inside that we need a home. So there's one more thing which I will just what do I say, let you know. Okay, we'll discuss about that in the later half. So here let's provide a scaffold. Inside that we need a app bar with an app bar title, or having splash screen or something like that. Okay, so beyond that we need a body will be having a sender widget. Inside that the child will be a text widget showing hello world. Okay, so this will be our landing page. So you might know what this will be. It will be having is like app bar with a title called as splash screen. Then in the body will be is hello world at its sender. Okay, so let's go back to our main.dot file. So let's just import that page to, so import um, home.dot. That's it. So now let's go with the real stuff that is making this making this screen a splash screen. Okay, so for that what we need to do is we need to do something called as, we need to initialize something, then provide the delay and call various stuffs, and we need to provide something like after 2 seconds it should go to our particular home.dot file, that is this page. So we need to provide that kind of stuffs. Okay, so for that what we have to do is, first let's create something called as init state inside this my app state. Okay, so I'll just go inside that and init state. Okay, so let it be like, so this is the case. So I'll just remove this particular command from there. So what we need to do now is after this particular line we have to call this something like future. Okay, future dot delayed, because we need to provide a duration. Okay, so duration, let me check whether that's okay. We need to go with capital D. Yeah, duration, and inside this we have to provide the time delay, that is seconds is equal to maybe 3 seconds. Okay, so we provide that thing, then we need to close the close this thing correctly. Okay, now what we have to do is outside this particular what do I say, called parenthesis, let's do something called as let's write something called as like they maybe something like a backend code or something like that. So that is, we need to push it to our next page after that is a home.dart file after this 3 seconds, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going with something like a uh, navigator, yes, navigator dot, we need to navigate to the next file. So for that we are going to provide something like this. So navigator dot push, so the context will be context itself. So yes, after that the route will be what will be the route. So we need to provide our what do I say, uh, material page route. Okay, so material, okay wait, material page route, and inside that we have to provide something called as builder. Okay, okay, that's not capital, builder. Okay, so inside builder we need to provide this context again. So and then we have to provide this something like where we have to take that. Okay, so we need to take that to our home.dart. So we have defined home class inside this, right? So I'm going to provide home, yeah, with a parenthesis. So that's it. So we provided the path to, and here so okay, let me check where the, like where this error occurred. Okay, okay, it's like this. We have to put a comma over here, then a parenthesis, and yes, there is sold. Okay, so this is what we have to do in order to create our splash screen. So let's try restarting or reloading our application. So yes, let's click on this thing and let's now check. Okay, so our application is reloading right now, and yes, that's okay, that's correct. So let's try again. So you might not have noticed this splash screen disappearing after 3 seconds because it was already having that splash screen. Okay, so let's try reloading this application again. Okay, so let's try now. Okay, now this splash screen 1 2 3, yes, it will now disappear. Okay, that's it. So that's regarding this building splash screen for our application. So now you can customize this what do we say, home screen in any way which we want. So one thing you might notice now is when we click on this back button, it will take back us to this splash screen, and we don't want that, right? So for that what we have to do is, so so we know this is the code over here. So what we have to do is, okay, before that, one thing which I missed is we are following something like an um, asynchronous programming. Okay, so we have to import that too. So let's import uh, dot async. Okay, so this is required because we are doing an asynchronous programming over here. Okay, so we were discussing something like once sorry, once we click on back, it will be leading back to our splash screen again. So what we have to do is, instead of just going with push over here, let's go with push and a replacement. Okay, push replacement. So that will solve our issue of coming back to this splash screen when we press on this back button. Okay, so let's try reloading this application again after exiting this application. So let's try rerunning our application. Okay, so now when we click on our back button, it doesn't take back to our splash screen, but we exit the app because we put this push replacement over here instead of just push. Okay, that is, it will replace that what do I say, splash screen, and it will not be shown again and again and again. Okay, so yes, so in order to push the final changes, what we have to do is we have to click on this stop button and rerun the app so that it will be what do we say, it will not be having that particular feature, that is going back to this splash screen again. Let's try opening this splash screen app from here. So once I open that, there'll be no change, like it will be just showing our Flutter logo right now. Okay, it will be showing just our Flutter logo over here, because we were during our first build we just had our Flutter logo inside this, and we didn't uh, what do we say, add these things except like other than hot reloading this. So what we had to do is we had to click on this red button to terminate our current session, and after that let's close this everything, and let's try rerunning this application from scratch again. So this time it will be taking less time, but it will be pushing all this code inside that, so it will be having the required feature like a splash screen which waits for 3 seconds, and after that it will be leading us to our home page and these things like that. Okay, so yes, let's wait till this application builds successfully. So now let's look how that's happening, like how that will turn out too. So it be as per our requirement, like this splash screen showing for 3 seconds. So let's wait after the final singing. So yes, 1 2 3, and after that it went to our home screen. Then when we press on this back button, it will exit, just exit. Okay, so that's what we were hoping to build. So that's for this video. In the next video we will be looking at some more interesting things like building a UI and all those stuffs. So see you.